Well, good morning and welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us here Sunday morning, April the 9th, 2023. And we are live here at Love 105 FM every Sunday morning for the Minnesota Real Estate Show, hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team at RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Appreciate you joining us, and good morning to you all. A good Sunday morning and a happy Easter as well. We got a great show today. We always welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Two awesome partners in studio with us today: Julio Silva with Lunar Moving, Jared Havens as well with Credit Life. Two wonderful guys. It should be a fun show. It's interactive. We welcome your questions, comments, thoughts, or 612-294-6949. Jared, Scott, Julio, should be a good one.
Yeah. Excited to be here. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And like Ryan said, we're going to go live in about 30 seconds. Love your comments, 612-294-6949, or just type in on the feed, and we'll cover it as it comes. Question of the week is, what saying did you grow up with that is no longer there? So, for example,
what saying did you grow up with?
What saying did you grow up with that's no longer there?
Here we go. We're going live on air again. Love 105 FM. Appreciate you joining us here. Good morning. Welcome to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Hope your Sunday is starting off well, and a happy Easter to everyone as well this Sunday morning. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Love 105 FM. It is an interactive show. We always welcome your questions, comments, thoughts at 612-294-6949 by phone or by text. Or if you're catching us anywhere on social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, whatever your favorite platform might be, we welcome your questions, comments, thoughts. Again, the show is hosted by Mike Overson of Luminate Home Loans, Scott Wolmering, and myself, Ryan O'Neill of the Minnesota Real Estate Team, RE/MAX Advantage Plus. Happy Easter to everybody. And Scott, good morning. We got a lot of folks joining us on social media. Nice to see you, bud.
Yeah, good to be here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Like Ryan said, this is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. This is, I think, our 18th year, and we talk everything real estate and mortgage related in the Twin City market. So basically what's going on right now, what we think is going to happen in the future, and kind of how to get your planning in order. So we're going to talk about that. Again, Ryan said it. We love your comments during the show. It makes it fun, interactive. 612-294-6949 or mnrealestateshow.com. At the beginning of the hour, we do two updates. One's a mortgage update. The other is a real estate update. And we'll get in that in a second. So we always do a question of the week to get your comments on that. So this week it is, what saying did you grow up with that is no longer being used? So I'll give you an example. Quit that crying before I give you something to cry about. I grew up with that, and we've all had them. So what sayings did you grow up with that you just don't hear anymore?
What sayings did you grow up with? Again, 612-294-6949. Spring has sprung here in Minnesota. I don't think 58 degrees has ever felt so good in my entire lifetime. Yesterday, it's been a long winter, and we are happy the sun is out. The real estate market is happy the sun is out as well. And in this first segment, we're going to dive in and talk a little bit, again, mortgage update and a real estate update. Mike Overson is normally here again every Sunday. Obviously, it's Easter, so he's with family here today. But from a mortgage standpoint, we're looking at rates again in kind of the low sixes, right around 6.25 for a 30-year fixed. They've been hovering right around there, really for the last couple months, kind of in and around that range. They've moved up as high as 7. At one point, they've been as low as 5.99, Mike said, but Scott, kind of right in that range is where they've been.
Yeah. I was just thinking about this over the last few days. The difference between, so for example, what happened last year, guys, if you haven't caught the show or you weren't in the market last year, we had the busiest real estate market ever through about the first 3-4 months of the year. interest rates were at about 2.8%. And
During
then,
COVID.
no, I'm talking about last year.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So we went, we went about 4 months. It was crazy. Rates were at 2.8%. And then in about 90 days, they went to 7.5%. And the market completely shut down.
Sure.
And now we've been 4 or 5 months beyond that, and it's starting to pick up. Anyways, what I was thinking about was that, when I got in 1998, rates were at like 8.5, and they dropped to, 7, then they dropped to 6. And, buyers knew it, but it wasn't the same instant knowledge that they have right now. So, I mean, because of social media, because of, the internet and everything being at your fingertips, you don't have to be in real estate to be plugged into what home interest rates are. So I think the reason it was such a shock is that, people follow it. Where back then, hey, what are rates? They're 6.5. What are rates? They're 6. Okay. You really didn't even know until
Right.
you actually sat down with your lender and found out.
Yeah, let's look real estate wise. Here's what's going on from the inventory numbers in the Twin Cities. So new listings or new homes for sale down 28% year over year. There were 1,035 new homes that came out of the market. Pending sales still, or accepted purchase agreements still down pretty significantly, 28% year over year drop. There were 846 pending sales. And then the inventory of total homes for sale is still slightly increasing, 9% more homes for sale, 5,799 properties for sale in the Twin Cities. Still, again, very historically low. Not a lot of inventory as a home buyer out there. If you're looking actively, you know that there's just not a lot to choose from right now. But I think for for the market overall, down 25% in pending sales. I think, Scott, the rise in the interest rates really has done that to our market overall, where all the companies, brokers, teams, it has been title companies, mortgage companies. It's been a significant slowdown, and really, it's interest rates
Yeah. I mean,
and inventory.
correct. This is in simple terms. 1 year ago, if you qualified for $1 million house, right now you qualify for a $450,000 house. A year ago, if you qualified for a $500,000 house, now give or take, because taxes are different, obviously, on lower properties, you'd probably qualify for a $300,000 house. So it's drastic. I mean, it will take some people completely out of the market because $250,000 homes don't exist. And so if you qualified for 500 and now qualify for 250, there's nothing out there for you to buy.
Gotta welcome on Jared Havens, Julio Silva. Good to see you there, young man.
Yes, good morning. Love being here. Love being on the show.
Top of the morning. Good to see you, Julio.
You too, Ryan. Good to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you. Jared, founder, owner of Credit Life. Super important work that he's doing, helping home buyers, helping really everybody from a credit standpoint. And Jared, have you seen that same pullback too? I mean, with your business, are there 25% less people inquiring at Credit Life?
Last year we definitely experienced a downtrend. For us, like I'd say like 90% of everyone that comes to Credit Life organically, like that just reach out to us, typically 90% they want to buy a home. That's our goal. And so, and our clients are in our program, they're going through that because that's their end goal. And so what we found last year, just like you were saying, Scott, we felt the same thing. Like a lot of people weren't reaching out as much. There was even some people in the program kind of going, well, man, I don't even know if I'm able to buy now. Should I be in this program? So we definitely experienced that. And for us, we educate them on understanding like it's about being proactive, it's a process. And so, one thing that I feel like is important is you got to continue on that path if you have any sort of credit issues, because when the market does change or when you get in a position where now you do qualify, as we know, credit scores are even more important today than ever before, it puts you in a position. But yeah, we felt that. But more recently, we've actually experienced a massive uptick of people reaching out.
I bet.
Like in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost double the amount that it was last year, at least in a monthly amount of people reaching out to us.
We had a question come in. Before we hit that, though, Scott, we received a nice comment that we like Scott's longer hair.
No, you did not. So I'm in transition, for those that can't see me on social media. My daughter wants me to grow my hair out, so I'm giving it a shot.
Looks very nice, Scott.
Yeah, it's at that middle point where I'm not sure I'm going to keep doing it.
Hey, we did have a text come in. It says, what is the current value of homes in Lakeland and Lakeland Shores? Is it moving up or moving down in your best estimate? So again, thank you. Thanks for listening to the Minnesota Real Estate Show and your message. When we look at specifically for Lakeland, as a question came in, I wanted to pull it up. here, but you can see that new listings are up 22% in Lakeland. Closed sales went from 26 in 2022. Again, this is a rolling 12 months to 31 in 2023. So closings are actually up 19%. Values, the median sales price went from 325 to 368. But interesting though, the most interesting number probably to you is the average sales price. So average sales price is down. It was at 573 last year. Now it's at 533, a 7% drop. And I think, Scott, maybe you do a lot of work in, very nice communities, upper bracket price points. Maybe can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, that was exactly, before I even went through the numbers, that was almost exactly what I would have thought. And I don't know Lakeland per se, but pretty much across the Twin Cities, eliminating some of the Wyzettas and Edinas and et cetera. If you're an outer ring suburb, you basically lost about 10% in the last 12 months. If you were 420 last year, you're about 350 this year. And that varies, meaning if you are a little bit upper bracket, you didn't have that big of a drop. Most of the hit happened in that 500 and under, because that's where most people can qualify. And that's where most people get hit when rates go from 2.8 to 7% for someone that's buying a $2 million house. Yeah, that sucks. But if you're buying a $2 million house, you've got discretionary money. If you're buying, a $500,000 house and rates go from 2.5 to 7, that's a big number for a family. And so that's what's affected.
Well,
but that makes sense.
And a thought maybe I would share, Scott, again, if you bought a 350 home last year, again, there's such strong demand in that price point that values are certainly not dropping. In that, I'd say probably 450 and under. There's so much demand in the Twin Cities, again, partly because rents are really expensive as well. So if you look at, am I going to rent or am I going to buy? From a buying standpoint, there's still a lot of strong demand. Talking to agents on the Minnesota real estate team, a lot of multiple offers, especially in, probably the 400 and under range. And so existing homeowners in those price ranges, you should feel good as well from a value standpoint.
Yeah, I was gonna just piggyback on that a little bit, just to give you a real life example. So I put a home on. I won't give the city because it's still active. We have multiples tonight at 6, but we went on it Friday at noon. We've had 26 showings through today. We're going to look at highest and best tonight at 6 o'clock. We're probably going to have 8 or 9 offers on it. If this was a year ago, we would have probably had 20 offers on it. So still a very aggressive market. I mean,
Sure.
8 or 9 offers, everybody would love that. What happened in that first kind of 4-month blip of last year was just it's not real. It's not going to continue like that. It can't.
Yeah, again, Julio Silva, Lunar Moving. You're doing an awesome job, bud. A lot going on in the moving world. You told us before the show started. How many moves this year?
Yeah, so I think this year we've already hit almost 70, close to 80.
Wow.
And we're going to be booked up on a huge contract, moving a bunch of people in for 21 days straight into this new community in Arden Hills.
That's awesome.
On top of our other customers that we service. So really excited.
Yeah, that's good. We're going to talk more with, again, Julio Silva, Jared Havens. Always welcome your questions, comments, thoughts on social media, or again, here at Love 105 FM at 612-294-6949. If you're a buyer, you're a seller, you're an investor, we've got a top agent on the Minnesota real estate team, wherever you're listening to this show, Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. Scott, what's the question of the week before the break?
Question of the week is, what saying did you grow up with that you just don't hear anymore? So the example was, stop your crying before I give you something to cry about. There's a lot of them.
What is that? I never have.
You never heard that? Well,
No.
that's because your parents are.
Yeah, no, I definitely heard that.
Yeah, your parents are O'Neills. Everything is sweet. And my dad is like, quit crying before I give you something to cry about. And are you hurt or are you injured?
Are you hurt or are you
I
injured?
would get that all the time.
Hey, we are up against our first break. We got to thank JoJo, too, for coming in on Easter Sunday to do our show live. We're super grateful for JoJo and her awesome work. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Thanks for joining us on social media. Jared, do you have one? What did a saying?
all the sayings that I can think of aren't really the most appropriate to share. I think because I was always in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think of
Here's one. It says, "Don't make me turn this car around."
yes,
That
yes,
is
that's a great
exactly
one.
it.
That's a great one.
Don't make
me turn this car around.
That's a super good. Happy Easter to everybody too. Good morning as well to everybody. Adam, owner of Nordy Photography, thanks for joining us on LinkedIn. Kareem, happy Easter. Mohammed, Nick, happy Easter to you and your family as well. Thanks for joining us here. Again, we're here till 11 o'clock. Welcome your questions, comments, thoughts, 612-294-6949. A lot going on in the market. But Julio and Jared, it's encouraging to hear, though, if you guys haven't felt that slowdown, that we in the real estate world have been feeling as much. What do you think? What's the reason for that, Julio?
Well, you know what? People have to move. People want to move, right? We've been fortunate. For example, I go up against 100 competitors in the moving industry,
Sure.
licensed and unlicensed, and for us to keep winning, I think that's a good sign of the market.
That's great.
I don't know anything about real estate.
Yeah.
but
Well,
I think that's a
Ryan
good
doesn't.
thing.
Ryan doesn't either. so
Yeah.
that's all right.
Lunar. How'd you come up with the name Lunar Moving? I like that.
When I was younger, I wanted to be an astronaut, and that never turned out. Astronauts, I learned you have to have perfect vision.
You can do it, Julio.
No. So, you know, I've always been kind of obsessed with space and, you know, like galaxy and the beyond and, you know, the unknown, things like that. And I'm like, you know what? And of course, music has played a huge part into my life too. One of my favorite bands, Angels and Airwaves.
Oh,
nice. Great
you know,
band.
and so Bling's coming to town, Ryan.
All right.
I'm gonna go.
Scott
That's
may go. Hey, we got to wish good morning as well. Randy
Oh.
Kellogg, thanks for joining us. Awesome agent, friend at Edina Realty. Thanks for joining us, Randy. Happy Easter to you and your family. Scott and I do like going to concerts together. We've had a lot of fun. I did take him one year to the GNR Motley Crue's mishmash at the State Fair, and you were not a fan.
No, it looked like Minneapolis threw up. I mean,
That's
what,
terrible.
That's what it looked like. It was just not my. It was not my thing. Not my thing. So
It was fun.
I hope I didn't offend anybody by that, but it literally was not my thing.
It was not your cup of
Not
tea.
my cup of tea.
Not your cup of tea. 612-294-6949. Happy Easter to everybody. From a buyer's perspective, again, interest rate wise, we did have another question come in regarding FHA. Are you seeing any FHA deals get done? Interestingly, we have seen some FHA offers getting accepted. Again, it's not always just price alone that people are looking at with the offer. It's, you know, price, earnest money, contingencies as well. Is there appraisal gap coverage if the value comes in lower, the appraisal, than the purchase price? Part of it is working with a good agent, Scott, that knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there's three parts to every multiple offer that your agent and then consulting their seller is going to look for it, which is price, terms, and lack of hassle. And so
Sure.
so if you're working with a really good agent that everybody's had multiple transactions with, when you're sitting down and going through the numbers, you're like, okay, you know, if Ryan's people will go up to this number, I would say go with Ryan because we know we're not going to have any issues. So that's the process that you go through every time you have a multiple offer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to say FHA getting it through, good for them, but it's tough.
Yeah, it is tough sledding. Hey, we're going back live on air. Love 105 FM. Thanks for tuning in. Top of the morning to you here. Good morning and happy Easter to everybody. Sunday morning here. We are at Love 105 FM. You're probably out and about driving to church, coming from church. Happy Easter again to everyone. 612-294-6949 is how you can join us right now throughout the week by phone or text. Questions, comments, thoughts. Traditionally, again, from doing this show so many years, once we hit this weather, 50s, mid 50s, high 50s, and that snow starts to melt, I'll tell you, it is buyers, more buyers come out of the woodwork, more sellers put their home up for sale, more people need to move with Lunar Moving. More people need credit help with Jared Havens. Just people come out of you see your neighbors for the first time in like 6 months.
I know it is nice. Well, I saw a thing on Facebook about it was a Minnesota driver, and it was 45 degrees, but there was sun out, and he's got his head out the window. I mean, that is kind of where we're at. I mean,
Yep.
no, you won't see anybody with a coat,
Yeah.
and it's 50 degrees outside.
I do have to just share, sorry, real quick. So this week I was driving home, and this time of year you always see neighbors, friends, whoever that are out there with the big mound of snow on the corner of their driveway when it's 50 degrees, starting to spread those mounds out onto the driveway, onto the street, to like have it melt faster. So anyway, I put up a little post saying, you're a Minnesotan when that happens. And it's funny. So many people have commented like, oh my gosh, I was just doing that yesterday. I was
Yep.
just out spreading the snow. It's kind of a psychological thing. It's like, get away. You know what I mean?
Yep. You want to spread it out so it melts faster.
Spread it out, Scott.
Not me.
No?
My piles would be there till July.
Really?
Hell yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not spreading snow out just to have it melt quicker.
The number of people that have commented.
It can take its time.
Jared, I interrupted you. You were going to say.
Well,
you had
I
a
was just
comment.
going to say yesterday was obviously just a fantastic day. And I always love when I get into, my neighborhood, Lakeville, and I just saw like just across the street down a couple houses. They have a bunch of kids in high school, and literally we had so many cars parked up. They're out there playing basketball. They're playing music, and I was like, oh yeah. I was like, I just love it. I really do. I was just like outside with my girls and everything, and it was just like a great day.
Hey, I got to give a shout out Jared Havens again with Credit Life, with his company and what he's doing from a credit perspective, because it's so important. Again, whether you are buying, whether you are not in the market, just knowing credit. Jared is a national speaker. He's been going across the country speaking for a lot of different real estate companies, different conventions, different things out there. Super cool, Jared. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I've always, so it's really cool. Like growing up, I was attracted to public speaking. And so, being able to have this opportunity over the past few years, I've really grown in the speaking network. I really enjoy it. I love the rush that you get from it. I mean, especially when you're empowering people, they get excited. The message is positive. I'm teaching people when it comes to credit, financial wellness, debt management. And yeah, I mean, it's great. In fact, on our break, when we we're talking about, FHA, that, the buyers right now and difficulties with FHA offers, I actually teach a virtual workshop called the Mortgage Readiness Workshop. And one of the things in there, I go over what I call the ultimate house buying system. And within that, I actually go over and cover exactly what we're discussing here, like the importance now more than ever. I would say for sure the last at least probably 2 years now, 2.5 years, is making sure you get your credit profile in a position to qualify for better financing, because I call it, you need to have a power offer ready. The reality is when you're in a competitive market, especially in a multiple offer situation, they're looking at, like the type of financing, like they want to make sure that transaction is going to go through. And unfortunately right now, FHA, if they're looking at conventional versus FHA, they're typically going conventional. So, it's a big part of my teaching component. They're helping people understand that so they can be proactive in advance. Hey, let's get your credit up. Let's improve your overall, financial picture, qualify for conventional, and then you're just have a better, an easier opportunity of, finding a property and things like that.
You've got, I can imagine I haven't seen you at one of these events, but a lot of good energy for your public speaking. You
Yes.
probably get people riled up. I mean,
Right
it's
away.
like a Tony Robbins thing.
Yes, right away.
People are standing on their chairs and, like shaking, just going a little nutty.
Yeah. So this last one, I went, and so there was a gentleman on before me. His name is Michael Burt, Coach Michael Burt. Shout out. He's in Tennessee. Great guy. He's a coach, an overall success coach, but he just released a book called Activate Your Prey Drive. And it's really about understanding, like, in the world of business, activating that prey drive, how to, stay consistent and hustling, all these different things. And so when I got on stage, he was just on, and I literally got on and I was like, woo, whose prey drive is activated right now? I was like, mine is. Like, it was like, I was just pumped up. Everyone was like screaming in there. And yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, super cool. Jared Havens, again, Credit Life. Jared, tips for folks, strategies, thoughts for people in this market, whether you are in the market buying or selling, whether you're not.
I would say the biggest thing, I educate on this a lot, is understanding how best to manage your credit cards, specifically for wanting to improve your credit scores. Because there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people go online, they're told, hey, 30%, hey, pay it off to zero. Even some people think that they should close credit cards. Like, all that's completely wrong. This right now, if you're listening, if you can, like, you take a mental note or even write this down if you're in a position to do so. To maximize your FICO credit score when it comes to the mortgage, when you apply for a mortgage, your FICO credit score, you want to have a reporting balance of 3% of what your credit limit is. 3%. And so when you do that, you're putting yourself in the best position at the highest credit score. And that swing, I mean, we've been on the show with Mike. I mean, literally, that swing alone could easily equal anywhere between 10 to 40 points, dependent on your credit profile.
Weird. Why is that? So, like, if you have a $2,000 limit and you have a $60 balance,
Yeah, that would literally put you in the best position. I mean, if you think about it,
weird.
it's all about data, right? FICO is a mathematical algorithm, and it's used to help lenders make better lending decisions, right? That's how they use it. And so if you think about it yourself, if you were to pull your own credit report and you see, like, you got, have an auto loan, have some credit cards. Well, if you see someone that has some credit cards with a little bit higher balances with some higher payments, you might think, oh, they're maybe a little bit more leverage. But when you have something where and it's not zero, you don't want to be zero because you need activity. 3% is that sweet spot because you're showing that you have it, you're responsible with it, and you may not necessarily need it. So therefore, I feel comfortable to lend you money because I feel like you're going to be able to pay me back.
But why not, playing devil's advocate, just the people saying, hey, I paid my credit card off at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And so it's a zero balance. Why would I do this thing with a 3% deal?
Yeah. Well, and that's a great question. So that's one thing to understand is the way it reports is like, so when you receive your bill, either in the mail or online, your PDF, your statement, the information on that statement is what was already reported to the credit bureaus. So it's not your payments. So a lot of times people hear this and they go, oh, okay, so if I get my statement, I should pay it down to 3%. No, it's already the damage has been done, so to speak. It's already been reported. So what you want to do is essentially make the tweak during the course of that billing cycle. You literally only want to charge up to 3% of the limit is. Let it sit, get your bill. You can still pay it off in full, but now you control the reporting, and it's going to report in a way that maximizes your credit scores.
Yeah, isn't there a way though? Because I mean, I know a lot of agents, and I'm the same way, that will charge your expenses so you can keep track of them on your card.
Yep.
And then pay them off.
Yeah.
Pay them off at the end of every month. But isn't there a way to jump that? Overson and I were talking about that one day, where instead of letting it go 30 days, you let it go 19 or 18 or 22 or something like that, to where you're always then showing that zero balance.
Yep.
Even though you're charging 15 grand on it.
Yeah. So we do this all the time. Like with what you brought up there is so spot on. So people that use it for points or miles or
Cashback.
Their business owner using it for business purposes, cashback, all that. So yeah, so what we would do in that case is you can still use that card, you can still make those charges, but what you want to do is access your, take a look at your billing statement, and you want to look at that billing cycle date, the end date. And then I always let my clients know roughly 5 days before the end of that billing cycle date, that's when you can pay it down in advance to that.
And it doesn't show.
And now you control the reporting, and you still took advantage of all the points and all the different things.
Do you ever help with the payment of the credit cards for people?
No. That would be amazing. I'd love to be able to add that somehow.
Oh,
but
Jared.
maybe
Hey,
through some technology or something,
Hey, I wasn't born yesterday.
oh, you weren't?
That's
a good
another.
one.
That's another saying.
That's
That's a good
another
one.
saying.
That's another saying.
Another saying. Before the break, Julio Silva, Lunar Moving, average cost for a move
That is a great question.
right now. What do you think?
$1,600.
$1,600. That's what you're seeing.
So,
And how many movers does that entail?
So typically 3 to 4. Our average customer is about 600,000 plus. So when we were talking about numbers and data earlier,
Okay.
you guys are spot on. So my average client, I mean, we've been in $1 million homes, multi-million-dollar homes, but it's kind of the sweet spot, the 600,000 plus.
Okay.
So of course we do apartment moves, but majority of our moves are all residential, bigger homes.
Gotcha. We're up against the halfway point here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We do appreciate you joining us, and we hope you're having a happy Easter. If you're driving to or from church, we got some sunshine in Minnesota. The spring market is opening up in real estate. I think we're going to start seeing a lot better numbers, maybe not a lot, but somewhat better numbers than what we have been the last few months with those pending sales kind of down in the dumps. 612-294-6949. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Yeah, good stuff.
I was going to ask you guys, like when you're monitoring, obviously the market here in Minnesota, from when I look like kind of like, at the obviously United States and all the different partners that I work with, Minnesota traditionally typically has lower inventory. I've noticed, like
Than other parts of the country?
like I'd say like, like right now, Texas is just building like crazy.
More land, more area.
Land. Yeah. So that's really interesting. I was looking, but at the same time in the history, there's a couple things I've noticed. One, Minnesota throughout history, I always term it as a little bit more steady Eddie.
Yeah.
Like the impact isn't as much as other states like California and Florida and certain states. And then also, I think this is really cool is that Minnesota, this is for all the listeners, Minnesota actually has the highest average FICO score out of the people within this state have
Wow.
the highest average FICO score than other states.
That doesn't surprise me.
Highest average.
Yeah.
Nice work.
Yep. That's us, Minnesota.
How about Wisconsin?
No, they're on the bottom.
They're actually they're the lowest. Just kidding. No.
Oh man. Hey, I do have to ask Julio. So, what would you say with the people that are hiring you? What is most important to the customers that are looking at hiring you versus going with a national, this company? What's most important?
Customer service, communication, and being licensed and insured. That's very important to people.
So,
Oh,
customer
yeah.
service,
Absolutely.
communication, being licensed. So, are there a lot of movers not?
Oh, ton.
Really?
I compete with them every day.
Oh, wow.
Usually win against both licensed and unlicensed. People love the underdog. People love supporting us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're not the big, chain,
Sure.
franchise or the, juggernaut, if you will, of the moving industry, but
Yeah.
people love supporting us. But again, communication, customer service are probably the top two, right? So
Huh. So, how does that work for an unlicensed mover or uninsured?
fly by night movers. I mean, I've a lot of movers, Craigslist guys, right? That
Oh.
don't have their proper license documents from the DOT, things like that. It's a hassle. I mean, it's a heck of a process to get licensed with the DOT, and it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
These guys they see the short term, they don't see the long term. So when something happens, they shut down and ship out of town to somewhere else, right?
Or injuries. Maybe
Yeah.
you think about injuries on the
Right.
job or different things, and now you're
Or
the
just
homeowner.
destruction of property.
Yeah,
I mean, if you don't
exactly.
have insurance backing you up and you drop one of Ryan's antique vases.
Actually,
oh, man,
Speaking of this,
you're
Julio,
done.
maybe Julio, you can talk with us. So yesterday, my wife Kathy said we had these two old TVs that we bought in like the early 2000s that were just the massive TVs that we haven't used in probably 15 years.
Yeah.
Do you see anybody with those anymore?
No.
You don't? Honestly?
Honestly, yeah.
And it's funny because we had one upstairs and we just never used it. So we brought it to like the Bloomington recycling place. But I was just curious if you see anybody with that.
It's funny. It took my kids over, Aiden over Grandpa Larry's one day, and we went in, and when we left, he's like, "Hey, Dad, what are all those big things on the back of Grandpa's TVs?"
You mean the
Because
big?
it's so,
Oh my god.
he'd never
It's so
seen. He'd
true.
never seen one.
And they're heavy. So I carried both of those
TVs
things.
are heavy.
I mean, talk about back support, Julio. I might need some.
Those things are brutal. I've seen them before, but I mean, I grew up with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you find your men and women that are helping you from a moving? Is that super competitive?
Not really. We pay our average employees for the moving company between 20 and 25 an hour,
Okay.
a little bit higher than my competitors.
Okay.
I don't want to be sending someone who's making $16 into your home. They're not going to care about your furniture. They're not going to care about much, right?
Sure.
So there's obviously the incentive of, hey, I'm getting really paid. This company values me. Same thing with the cleaners. We're between 17 and 19 an hour with them. So all of our hiring is done through Indeed.
Oh, through
Yeah.
Indeed. It's
It's expensive, but it's worth it in the end for me.
Well, yeah, I used to own daycare centers, and it's always a fine line between paying more so you can keep people, because there's nothing worse than just churning through,
Right.
through, in this case, movers, or in my case, it was, daycare employees or preschool employees. It's miserable.
It's a lot.
It
It
is.
is a lot. We're getting ready to go back live on air. Appreciate you you joining us here. Happy Easter to everybody. The sun is out. Hopefully, you can get out and do something with family and friends here today. It should be, I think this week, guys, it's supposed to be like 70.
Oh, I
Mhm.
know. He's so
Perfect.
nice.
Oh my gosh, it's gonna be nice, Jared. What are you gonna
I'm taking the week off.
do?
I'm just going outside.
You're taking the Scott's gonna be spreading snow piles.
That's right.
So it melts faster.
Throughout the city, just everybody's place. I'll just look for him.
Here we go. We're going back live on air. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Love 105 FM. 612-294-6949. Hey, welcome back to the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Sunday morning here, April 9th. A happy Easter to everyone. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We're here for your questions, comments, thoughts. Our team, the Minnesota Real Estate Team, helps buyers, sellers, real estate investors all over Minnesota, Western Wisconsin. Wherever you might be picking up the show today, we've got a top agent on our team that is here to help you, that knows your city, your neighborhood, your community, really all over the state of Minnesota. We've got top agents on the team, but in studio today again, Jared Havens, Credit Life, sharing lots of credit tips. Julio Silva, Lunar Moving as well. And Julio, you were just commenting as well, the importance of paying your people well. The question was, again, how do you differentiate yourself between other movers? You mentioned, again, being licensed and insured. Some movers, many movers are not, as well as paying your people better, taking care of your folks.
Absolutely. You take care of them, and I promise they will take care of your customers and your company. They care more. It's important.
Yeah. Super cool. Super good stuff. Lunar Moving. Before I forget too, Julio, with that business, you also set up a cleaning company as well because of all the moving and what you were seeing with the market. Talk about that.
Yes. So I started Lunar Cleaning last, I believe, July, but we really didn't push numbers until last fall and winter. We focus on move-in, move-out cleans. It's a really nice courtesy of seeing people pay for cleaning services, these move-in, move-out cleaning before someone else takes over the home.
Mhm.
So I've never, really seen that too much. So we do a lot of that. Now we're in commercial buildings, which is really exciting. And the third company that I decided, because why not? I started a Lunar Packing Services, and we're looking for that to take off here in about 30 to 45 days. So the way that moving companies pack, it's clustered. Even with Lunar Moving, it can be a cluster. So we have better processes in place and better technology and better techniques to do things, right? So I have all three triage of services. It's perfect for the homeowner who's going through that moving process.
From a packing standpoint, so is that, talk about that a little bit. Help me understand why you started that. Does that just make it the process a little bit easier? You know what's happening, that type of thing?
It does. With movers, what's the easiest way to say this? Our minds are on, moving furniture, right? Not
Yeah.
taking that time to be tedious and
Sure.
pack. So, but a lot of it has been cross training, in the meantime, before Lunar Packing has taken off. So, it's great. It's, not everybody is going to hire a mover, but people need packing. Usually the clients that have hired us for packing services are the busy mom and dad, right? The working couple, or the people who are, elderly and, need that extra help too. So
They got nice stuff.
they do.
It's
Yeah.
funny. I'm thinking about moving. I'm kind of a minimalist. Scott, are you a minimalist?
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
I'm if I haven't used it in a year, it's thrown out. No, so when we had all the kids, so there were 7 of us in a house, and I would bring a 16-yard dumpster once a year, and I'd tell the kids and Jen, I'm like, if you haven't used it in a year, throw it in the dumpster.
Oh man.
And you'd be
so much
surprised.
for recycling.
You'd be surprised. No, you'd be surprised how many people in the neighborhood come over and like dig in your dumpster.
Oh,
I imagine.
Like, are you going to throw that print away? Or are you going to throw that? Yeah, that's why it's in the
They're
garbage.
like, let's
Well,
see
can
what
I
kids
have it?
got in
well,
here.
cities do a lot of the recycling drive.
Well, this is Lakeville.
I know. Well, Bloomington, for example, has it where you can put whatever you want to recycle, dispose of at the end of the corner of the driveway, and then a lot of people will come through. Obviously, resellers, eBay sellers, that type. You ever done any of that, Jared?
I've never done any reselling. No, but I've definitely done the decluttering. I've definitely done that type of work. I want to be a minimalist. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
A minimalist.
Minimalist.
I can't say that word. My goodness. I want to be that way, but with kids and family, it's like I always find myself looking in the garage, going like, "How do we have so much stuff? Like everything in our house, like having to pack it in." I've done the same thing. I've ordered a dumpster where it's like we got to get rid of stuff here. It's like it's just crazy how quickly things can you just acquire a lot of stuff.
What are you thinking, Julio?
Oh, downsize. The
Yeah.
more that you can downsize, the cheaper your moving bill is. We've done, homes. Again, we're in big homes. The average size home we're in is typically a 3-bedroom plus. And apartments, apartments are minimalist. They really are.
Yeah.
We moved quite a few apartment people, but it's the homes. People who have kids that, it's the garage. Oh, forgot about the garage. They don't even
Yeah.
want to look at it. Nobody wants to look at it.
Sure.
And nobody wants the China set.
Mm.
Sorry to
That's
say
right.
that, people.
They don't.
Nobody wants it?
No.
Nobody
No one wants the China set?
They do not.
Nobody wants it.
Well, I wonder. Yeah, you think about it though, Scott, because I mean, if you have all of that stuff sitting there, and I think the natural reaction is, well, maybe one day I'll use it, or maybe one day I'll gift it to a neighbor or a nephew, or you know what I mean. I think a lot of people think that way versus just saying, okay, it's time to go. Like we got to clean it out.
Well, like for example, do you keep birthday cards?
I do keep birthday cards.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't. I read the card, and then I throw it in the garbage. And Jen keeps. I mean, she's got boxes from 1982.
That's nice. Jen, do you
What-
keep birthday cards?
I
Jared?
do not.
You do not, Jared.
Unlike Scott.
Julio.
I do.
See, okay, Julio. Let's ask Julio.
So yeah, let's think about that. So,
Why do you
so
do
why
it?
do you do it?
Sentimental value to me.
Yes.
So how many times a year do you go back in and read your birthday card?
Less than one, probably. Yeah.
Less than one.
Yeah.
But Scott, I think you'll find a lot of people like Julio or me. Well, here's the thing. It depends who it's from. You know, you think about that person and you think about, so it's less about me reading the card and it's more about remembering that person.
Yeah, I can see that.
I can't.
There you go.
I don't want the card hanging around. I want one less card. I want one less bag of stuff. Yeah, that is.
You can do it, Scott.
Yeah.
Scott, you're going to become more thoughtful.
All right,
in
let's
your
talk.
50s here.
Let's talk a little real estate thing. One thing that as we're talking, and I was just thinking about the last 2 days in multiple offer situations. If you're a buyer listening to the show or an agent working with a buyer, one of the things that you need to understand, and more importantly, the client needs to understand, is it's not the responsibility of the listing agent or the seller to try to make it so that they can buy the house, if that makes sense.
Tell me more.
So what I mean by that is, so I've got probably 9 or 12 offers. Well, almost every agent has written an offer with something in it, an inspection, a little bit further out closing date, whatever it happens to be. And that always the conversation is, now we'll change that if your seller needs it, just come back to us and let us know.
Sure.
Well, if you've got 19 of those, I'm not going back to you.
So again, so you're getting these offers on the property. You're helping your seller review it. The agent's saying, well, we wrote it this way.
But make
But-
sure you come back if there's any counter. Well, you've got 19 people
Yeah.
saying the exact same thing. So I guess my point is,
Good.
put your best foot forward. So if you can live without an inspection, get rid of it.
Yes.
If it's in there, I can tell you that if another offer does not have an inspection and it's the same money,
Yeah.
there is no obligation for me to try to get your buyer to get the house. So write it clean, make sure your buyer understands all the risks associated and the benefits associated, and then put it forward. But the hey, we're going to go FHA, but they could go conventional. Hey, we're going to close this way, but we could close earlier. Hey, they're only putting 2,000 earnest money, but they could put 5.
Yeah.
It's like, don't do that. Just put your best foot forward, and then you either get the house or you don't.
As a buyer, that may be hard to hear, especially if you're a negotiator. I want a deal, but you have to remember again, with such a shortage of inventory, and again, knowing your price point and location, you just have to know your competition. Your agent should be helping inform you on what is the reality here of being able to get a deal done. We're up against our final break here. I do want to talk about Scott keeping more birthday cards after the break. I think that would be thoughtful. 612-294-6949. Happy Easter. If you're driving to church or coming back, Hope you and your families are having a great Easter weekend. Happy Passover as well to all of our Jewish friends too. This is the Minnesota Real Estate Show. Yeah, that's a good point, Scott. That's a really good point. And I think sometimes, again, as buyers, you want to feel like you're negotiating, you're getting the best deal for your people. But to your point, you heard Scott's example as the listing agent. If he's got a lot of different offers, he's not going to go back individually to each one and say, well, okay, you mentioned you could go FHA to conventional. Okay, we're going to look at doing that. The seller's just going to review those offers, pick the best one, and move forward.
Yeah, and that's the in my experience, it's a combination of buyers that might not get it, and we've all been in that case where you represent your buyer. At the end of the day, it's their call. But I've seen a lot more with agents as of late that spend a lot of time calling. They call 3-4 times. How many offers now? We got this. Well, now remember, if we're low, just come back. And I'm always like, there's 19 of you or 30 of you saying the same thing.
Right.
So don't be low.
Right.
Is there anything we can do to make our offer better? Yeah, write the best offer.
Julio, tips for people in this market if they are thinking of, again, working with a mover, working with a cleaning company. Thoughts?
Downsize.
Downsize?
The biggest tip, I guess, I would give, downsize. But what we'd want to, what I'd recommend is do your research on who you're hiring.
Yeah, do your research.
Reviews, right? And judge them by their first phone call. We have a sales center of about 5 agents, and their job is to talk to you by your name, right?
Oh,
and
okay.
Really just acknowledge you, right? And so it's you. You're on the spotlight. It's about you, my customer. So
Customer service.
on it.
I like that. Judging the mover by the first phone call. That's actually really good. You could think about that with really any industry at all. Jared, I know you guys same way. You handle the same thing. You answer the phone. You help people wherever they're at, whether they just had a bankruptcy, a foreclosure, they got a ton of debt, student loans. You help everybody.
Yep. Well, I think too, in my industry, a lot of times if you've gone through credit troubles, you've gone through an event in your life, it's not the most fun thing to bring up. You might not feel proud about it. And so, for us, we've always had a focus on, just really empowering people to understand that there's a solution. We're not judging in any way. It's more about us, almost like a doctor, right? We're here to prescribe the medicine. And so that to me is, I think, the big piece. And once a client goes through that initial consultation process, once they talk to our team, they feel so much better. I mean, we get feedback all the time going, oh, I wish I would have called you a year ago. I feel so much better. So it just shows you that once you kind of take that leap and you have that conversation, and you understand there's a solution, you feel good.
So any other tip? Again, I like that credit card one, the 3%. Anything else you can think of that's like a super good tip if you want to get the best credit score?
Another big one is, I would say, around the credit card piece is definitely do not close credit cards. That happens quite often, believe it or not. Like a lot of times people feel like, hey, I'm not using this card. It's old. It's like, maybe I should just close it because, I don't want that hanging out there.
Yeah.
Well, when you close out credit cards, you lose that overall ratio as well as that history, and it lowers your score. So definitely do not close any credit cards if you're looking to apply for something.
I closed 2 last year, and it dropped my score 20 points.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And why did you close them?
It's just hadn't used it. It was a little one. I think was like a little old furniture card or something from like when I was in my 30s, and I don't remember what the other one was, but yeah.
Thanks for joining us back on Easter Sunday here, 612-294-6949 here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. We did have a comment. Julio Silva, Lunar Moving, was talking about what do you keep, and we talked about cards. And Scott, I want to share a message with you. My dear mother, who is a longtime listener. By the way, we should have our moms on,
Yes.
like a David Letterman thing.
For sure.
We should have your dear mom should be on the show, or maybe call-ins or something like for commentary.
Yeah, as long as my mom gets first billing. I mean, Kathy, she can get second billing. But yeah, I think that'd be fun.
No, mom said this. She said, I keep all of my cards in a basket, even Christmas ones. Then each day I take one out of the basket and then I say a prayer for the person who sent it.
Oh my God.
That's wonderful.
That is
That's so wonderful.
Of course it is. It's Mrs. O'Neill. my mom is like, yeah,
Your mom is very much
burn,
the same.
I burn the cards in the first 30 seconds and try to remember what they said.
No, your
No,
mother
she's
is the
not.
same way. Your dear mother is the
Oh
same
my
way.
God, it would be fun to have them on.
Actually, it would be fun.
Yeah.
We'll have to do that. But moving again, when you think about moving and options, Julio, just really impressed, bud. Congratulations to you on all your hard work. I know I've talked to you a lot, and I'm always impressed with the effort you're making, starting these companies, hiring good people, really making a run for it. You're really doing an awesome job, buddy.
Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate to hear that.
Best way for people to connect with you.
Phone, Google, Facebook. I'm going to start getting a little bit better with social media. I know. But definitely we have on our brand new website, by the way.
Oh, very cool.
And the first website, I'm so sorry if anybody saw that, and it was basic. So
Okay.
my forte is not marketing or design, things
Sure.
like that. So we have an awesome new website coming for Lunar Cleaning and Lunar Packing. But the easiest way to reach me, it goes through my software, is our website for sure.
Which is
easy
what?
contact form, which is lunarmoving.com.
Hey, Julio, we did have a question. Deb, awesome agent. Happy Easter. Deb Luzinski. Deb said, will Julio's company go to Western Wisconsin?
We will.
Very cool. All right. So you do Western.
I'm not a Packer fan. Okay, I'm a Bengals fan.
Okay.
Right, I'm not welcome in Wisconsin, probably because of that.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. Well, we're grateful for you.
Yes.
Yeah, we're grateful for you. Jared Havens, last thoughts for folks in our final segment here. Best way for people to connect with your awesome company, Credit Life.
Yeah, the best way to reach out to us just through our website, creditlife.com. No T, so it's CREDILIFE.com. Just reach out to us. You know, we offer a no-cost initial consultation, no pressure. It's really just done in a way to better know who you are, what your situation is, and what you're looking to accomplish. And from there, our team will be able to put together a blueprint and a plan, to get you in a better position and get you to your goals. So we help people who are looking to either improve their credit, if they're looking to buy a home, if they want to reduce their overall debt strategically through debt management. I work a ton with business owners, real estate investors. If you're looking to build business credit, get access to capital. So anything on the personal side and business side, we do all of it.
And Jared, I have to give a shout out to fellow agents and brokers as well. He's also in process. They're developing a really nice program from a financial management standpoint and credit monies for agents, brokers, for the industry. Something really important, because again, as a real estate agent, you're a 1099. It's fully commissioned, but you're doing a nice job developing some great programs for agents and brokers.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited about that, just because that industry, as you know, you've been in the industry for a long time, especially someone newer. Income kind of goes up and down. You have a big commission month, you have a couple months low, then big again. So the goal and what we're doing is really to empower the agents on how to manage that, in a way that they can be more consistent and everything. And so, just like agents have goals, just like everyone else, right? And so it's just really empowering them to just put them in the best position to always be successful.
Couldn't you see this guy as a public speaker?
Yeah, I'd love to.
I'd love that
to see
energy,
it, yeah.
man. I want to see it. Dude, we gotta do it.
We'll have to host an event here locally.
Yes, maybe in the room here.
Yes, let's do it. I'll bring my mom in.
Happy Easter to you and your family. Any big plans?
Yep. Right after this, I'm heading up north. My family's already up there, and we're having a big Easter lunch and gathering, and really excited.
So what do you guys eat for Easter?
They have like a whole deal. It's somewhat similar to Thanksgiving, I'd say. There's like mashed potatoes, turkey, things like that, ham. But one cool thing is my fiance Katie, yesterday with the girls, they make like these little, like, they call them like peeps in a bed or something, like with Rice Krispie treats and little
I've seen
peeps
I've
and
seen those. Yeah,
grass with stuff. Yeah, they have like 30 of those made, so that's really cool.
Super cool.
Ryan and I were talking yesterday, and one of the questions we should do one week is what's one side dish that you have at your holidays.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the shaved carrots and the Jello.
Yeah, Tony commented, I think Tony Ashworth, a longtime Minnesota agent and broker, on that Facebook post. I said, you're a Minnesotan when ... And he said, every year you eat that Jello with the shaved carrots.
Yes, it was so gross as a kid. Because it was like the worst combination of stuff. And it was like you're eating like twine or something. It was bad.
Yeah, it is.
And then if Jen, my ex-wife's listening, nobody likes green bean casserole. They're being polite. Every household that puts it out there, They're being polite. They don't like green bean casserole.
Hey, we've just got a couple minutes left here at the Minnesota Real Estate Show. If you are a buyer, seller, you are a real estate investor in our market, again, it does, once the sun comes out like this, the snow melts, things do start to heat up even more so as well. We are going to see more inventory of homes for sale, without a doubt. There will be more, but it's still going to be very competitive out there. Be sure to plug in again with your mortgage person. Get everything dialed in up front. A lot of the listing agents like local companies, someone they can talk to on the telephone that will pick up that they know. And so sometimes it's easy to go to a big national companies. Maybe they offer you a little better rate here or there. But a lot of times as a buyer or as an agent, listing agent, without knowing that person, that's a little bit of a negative. And so trying to find somebody locally, it's one of the reasons why we partner with Mike Overson, his team at Luminate Home Loans. They're local. They're a bank as well, Luminate Bank here in the Twin Cities. Scott, super important.
It is. Yeah. We were talking earlier in the show about multiple offers, and, there's no doubt that we're in that full steam ahead. And when an agent is sitting down with their seller, they're going to look at price. They're going to look at terms. They're going to look at closing date. They're going to talk to the lender to make sure that the person's through underwriting and is fully approved. And if it comes down to the exact same offers, and I won't name some of the national lenders, but Yoo-Hoo Mortgage out of Chicago,
Sure.
they're not getting the house
Sure.
because you're going to have an issue with an appraisal. You're going to have an issue with the money showing up. It's a hassle. And so again, when you're doing your clients a favor, you got to explain all that, if cousin Joe is a lender out of Chicago, and you're competing with 10 people, it's going to be tough to get your offer through.
To your point, Scott, sometimes people, though, who are cash buyers, some who have liquid funds available, wherever that money might be, sometimes the feeling is, because I'm cash, I should get a sweetheart deal on it. And the reality of it is, obviously, cash is probably the best option. Of course, not many people can do that. But that doesn't mean you're going to get a deal on it.
It's all cash.
Right.
I mean, whether you're putting 0% down or you're putting 100% cash down, it's the exact same net to the seller.
Yes.
So the only reason that cash has an advantage, it goes back to that hassle factor. You don't have an appraisal. You don't have to get approved. All the things that could typically have a deal go sideways, you've eliminated with cash. And there is value to that. But there's not $15,000, $10,000 in value, because it's all the same money at the end of the day.
Yeah. Julio, I keep thinking about what you recommended. You said biggest advice for people? Downsize or declutter. And
Clutter for
yeah,
sure.
take those, maybe not a dumpster, Scott. Maybe we can change you, Scott, to recycle, to do something good for our earth. And instead of getting the big dumpster, maybe you'd start recycling your things.
Well, no, everybody can recycle it. It's just they can come and get it out of the dumpster. You can recycle as much as you like.
Oh, man. Happy Easter to everybody. It's been a fun show. Hey, JoJo, I do have to ask you. I know she's always like, Ryan, don't make me go on air here. But you said you are a cook. You got to tell people what you're doing for Easter.
I'm going to make some Dungeness crab legs and also some steak.
Yum.
Wow.
I've got a cucumber tomato salad with like feta on it. Or something.
Yum. That's so good. That
So
sounds
you
wonderful.
are a cook. That's awesome,
Yeah, I
JoJo.
don't get paid to do it, but yeah.
Can we come over? Is there extra room at the end?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That many pounds of crab legs.
Oh, JoJo is a great cook. Hey, it has been a fun show, and we appreciate you tuning in. Happy Easter to everybody. Again, 612-294-6949. Julio Silva, lunarmoving.com, Lunar Cleaning. Is it lunarcleaning.com as well?
LunarCleaningTC.com.
Lunarcleaningtc.com. Scott, last thoughts for folks?
Nothing. Just we're getting into now, like Ryan said, now that the weather's heating up, it's gonna get crazy busy again. It's a supermarket if you're selling, and from a selling standpoint, don't be so scared that you can't find a home, because a buyer will give you time in this market.
Yep.
If there's 15 offers and I go to you, your agent, and I say, look, we'll go with your offer,
Yeah.
but we want to push the closing date out 90 days with the option of moving it forward.
Yep.
They're going to do it
Sure.
because they want the house, and that gives you time to get yours sold and then go out and find a house.
Great job, buddy. Happy Easter.
You too.
Jared, happy Easter, but best way for people to reach you?
Just reach out to creditlife.com, no T, or you can even just reach out to me directly, 612-444-3426.
Thanks for everybody for joining us. It's been a fun show. Every Sunday we're here 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Love 105 a.m. We'll be back again next week. Throughout the week, questions, comments, thoughts, looking for a free market analysis. You're a buyer. Please don't hesitate to reach out to the Minnesota real estate team. We are here for you, and we're here to help you. 612-294-6949. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Happy Easter. It's been a fun one. We'll be back next week again. And thanks again, everybody. Take care and happy Easter. Bye-bye.